T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Suite C in Burleson, Texas, go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They are loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio. Welcome to the Her Show, Home Experience Radio, with your host, Trina Titus Lozano. This is a live call-in show that takes your calls and questions about marriage, family, and personal relationships. She's a licensed and ordained pastoral counselor, author, international conference speaker, wife, mom, and grandmother. She's been counseling and teaching vital relationship skills for over 30 years. Trina is real and relational and reveals strong truths spoken in tough love and common sense. Join us on the studio line now at 817-637-2585. And now, here's Trina.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Her Show, Home Experience Radio. I'm glad to be here, and I'm answering some questions today. If you have a question, please feel free to give me a call at 817-637-2585. Again, 817-637-2585, and I will answer your specific question today. But I am talking about making your home a place of love and peace. My mom wrote the Home Experience book about 20 years ago, and then I think about maybe 8-9 years ago, something like that, I joined her and co-wrote the book, the new copy of her book, the new edition. And the home experience book is really a manual of how to make your home a place of love and peace. And if you'd like a copy, you can get that on Amazon or on home. Let's see, not homeexperience.org. Let's see, Amazon or kingdomglobal.com. That's where you can order it from our ministry. But this is such an incredible tool to make your home a place of love and peace. And there are so many elements to this. And the reason why we wrote this is because my mom had run across some statistics that were really incredible. And the one that really stood out to her was the book, The 5 Basic Reasons Why Great Civilizations Withered and Died. And this is about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, written by Edward Gibbon in 1788. And he said that the number one reason why great civilizations have withered and died, like the Roman Empire, is the undermining of the dignity and sanctity of the home, which is the basis for human society. And this is what we're seeing is the undermining of home. And we are seeing this so much in our nation, but all over the world as we are traveling around the world, we are seeing that there is such an undermining of the home. In fact, it's almost like people are not even spending time in their home. They are so disconnected from their family, and their home ends up being this place that they just kind of run in and out of, and throw clothes on the floor and take a quick shower, and maybe do some laundry, and that's really it. Sleep for a few hours and then you get up and leave again. And so it's like people are so disconnected from each other and even from the value of their home. Families are spending more time outside of the home than they are spending in the home. And then so often we see that when people are at home, what is happening? There's still such a great disconnection from the relationships there. And we see this even more so over the past 10 years or 12 years with everybody having a cell phone. And so even during maybe a family movie night, everyone has their phone. And what are they doing? They're sitting around watching the movie, maybe in the same living room, but they're all also looking at their phone. And there is this disconnect. And so as a result of this disconnect, there is not this sense of love and peace. And so the human heart is always longing for this, and it's impossible to get when there is a disconnection. And here's the interesting thing about love is every human heart is desperate for it, desperate to have love. And without peace, we don't believe that we are loved. When there is chaos, when there is arguing, when there is fighting, when there is turmoil in the relationships in our home, the atmosphere is chaotic from the mess, from the dishes being dirty, from the clothes being all over the place, from the dining table being piled with mail or laundry, whatever the case is, it's a mess and it doesn't bring peace to the human heart and to the human soul. So as my mom and I wrote this book, we just made a commitment that we were going to send the message to anyone and everyone who had this deep desire to make their home a place of love and peace, and to encourage this everywhere we went. And with my clients, I encourage this on a regular basis because this is where human hearts are formed. That's what that's her quote, really, Debbie Titus. Home is where the human heart is formed. We've seen the plaque, home is where the heart is. And I love what she said. No, home is actually where human hearts are formed. Home is where children's hearts are made soft and secure, or where their hearts are hardened and hindered. And so as we look at the hearts of our children, we have to take a look at the atmosphere of our home. I'm looking forward to the holidays, and I'm sure you guys are too. I'm all decorated for fall, and maybe you are as well. And looking forward to Thanksgiving. In fact, I'm already beginning to plan the menu and plan the table and plan the guest list, and so excited about family being home for the holidays. And we have such a big family. I've been married for almost 40 years, and we have 4 grown children, and 3 are married, and 12 grandchildren. Plus my grandmother, who's 99, lives with us, and my parents are local. So we often have a very large group for these holidays, and we host. And I was able to push 4 tables together and clear out my living room and make a dining room that seats 18. And that's just one of the tables. Of course, then there's the other tables that will handle the overflow. But this is something that is so incredibly important, because as we bring families together around the table to have this eye-to-eye, face-to-face contact and build the relationships with our family at home around the table, this is where a connection happens. And research even says that your children will be less likely to be addicted, less likely to be suicidal, less likely to have struggles in school if they are having regular dinners around their table with their family at home. This is not supposed to be just a once a year thing, people. In fact, statistics say that 5 meals a week is what it takes to get the kind of bonding that children really need, and the family bonding that everyone craves is when we have 5 meals together. Now, you might say, okay, we're not even home 5 days a week. All right. But that's not the only meal that you have together. There may be breakfast that you can have together. And I had one of my clients say, well, my husband is never here for breakfast. He gets up early, he works out. And she's a school teacher. I get up, I get the kids ready, and we eat breakfast together, and he just runs in and grabs a smoothie on his way out the door. And I said, wait, hold on a minute. Do you know how to make his smoothie? And she said, yes, I know what he does. Do you ever make it? No. And I said, what if you had his smoothie already pre-made, because he comes home at the same time every day to quick change his clothes after his workout? What if you already had his smoothie ready for him, and you and the kids time it so that you are sitting at the table at the same time? I bet you he'd sit down for 5 minutes and chug his smoothie down while you guys are quickly eating before everyone has to leave. That, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes, that time together around the table, it would tremendously impact the way everybody's day goes, because it begins with this connection. And so that just would take a little bit more of preparation on her part to make his smoothie and to set the table. My mom and I always recommend for people to set the table, set out placemats, use dishes, and or if you're going to do paper plates or paper napkins, make them cute, and set the table and create this atmosphere. Clear off the table, get the mail and the junk and the laundry off the table, clear off the table, and bring your family home around the table. This is one thing that you can do on a regular basis that will bring your family together. This will make the biggest impact. And it's interesting because statistics prove this. And then when we look in the Word of God in the Bible, we can go back to the Old Testament and see that God actually invented the first table. He did. He said, build a table. And he even gives them measurements in the Bible. And he tells them exactly to put it on 4 legs and how tall to make it. And that's exactly the way that the height that tables are even to this day, the same height of when God first invented the table to be outside of the tabernacle. And what God said is, at this table, set your dishes and your plates and the pitchers. And when you do this, the bread of the presence of Jesus is going to sit there at the table. And so we find this in the Old Testament in the tabernacle. Then we see all throughout Scripture the importance of the table, all throughout Scripture, where this is a place where people connect. You may be familiar with the Last Supper, even if you have not grown up in church, maybe if you're not a Christian, or maybe if you're not Catholic, or maybe if you are, you understand what the Last Supper is. Maybe you've seen the painting, or you have a concept of what it is. And at the Last Supper, Jesus and his disciples came, and this was a time that they had at the table before he was going to go to the cross. And at this table is where he explained to them what is going to be happening. And this just reminds me of the importance. Think about what opportunity you have to teach your children and grandchildren things about life, things that are going to be happening in the future, things that we've already dealt with, and just anything that needs to be discussed. this is the time to do it around this family table. I cannot stress to you enough how critical it is that y'all bring your families together with meals at the table. Okay, it's going to take a little bit more planning, right? Because we have become so accustomed to eating on the run, to fast food, to actually not planning and preparing. And some people laugh about it. I saw a meme the other day that said, "I love my kids, but I never committed to planning dinner every single night for 18 years." And, that's the thing. Well, why not? Why not commit to planning the meals and having dinner? Why not? I mean, wouldn't that really be the greatest pleasure of your life? I mean, if you're like me, I would do anything to add to the even possibility that my kids would be successful, that my kids would have healthy hearts that can give and receive love correctly, that my kids would be well bonded to me, that they would have a better chance at life and less of a chance of addiction. Wouldn't it be worth it to plan your meals and bring people around the table? And once a year, we know how special it is on Thanksgiving, but just think about that if that was for 5 meals a week. So there's a challenge for you. I know I don't love to cook. I like to cook. And I certainly tend to be a person that does, I'm going to say, semi homemade, where I sort of put recipes together, that are sort of semi homemade. And I certainly utilize every convenience that the grocery store and the deli or takeout food has to offer. However, I bring it home and I present it kind of as if it is homemade. Yes, my chocolate chip cookies I have freshly baked right out of the oven. May just be baking them during the Dallas Cowboys game or baking them for after school snacks for my grandkids, whatever it is. Yes, I buy the Toll House cookies, that are in the refrigerator section where I just have to break off the little section of the cookie. But I do roll it up in a ball and set it on the cookie sheet and bake it. Okay. I don't want it to be in this square shape. I don't want square cookies. Okay. I want them to be round. So I take the time to roll them up in a ball. But as I'm doing this, what am I doing? I'm giving a message to my family that they are loved, that they are valued, that they matter, that I'm planning for them, I'm preparing for them. And I love to do this. And this truly impacts their hearts. Don't think that it doesn't. This truly impacts their hearts. Proverbs chapter 24, verses 3 and 4 says, "By wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. Through knowledge, its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures." What are the rare and beautiful treasures? Well, it's not just the decorations, okay? It is our family. It is the hearts that we are pouring into. And in some seasons of life, our household has had 6 people. Okay, because we had 4 children. And then in other seasons of life, one child would have grown up, and then there's just the 5 of us, and then there's the 4 of us, and the 3 of us, and then just the 2 of us. Although when it became the 2 of us, then my grandmother moved in. And so she's there under our roof. And we always have people coming and going. We're sort of very hospitable that way. However, here's the thing: no matter who is at our home, we always want to connect with the people there. We need to prioritize the people in our home. Okay, so let's just kind of break this down a little bit. So, the first institution that God created was the family. Okay, in the first home, the Garden of Eden, he established this divine order for how family would live in their environment. And then he gave specific instructions for the first 2 homemakers, right? Adam and Eve. And he required them to be obedient, to be fruitful, to multiply, and to rule over their environment. And this is where God set the family in order, sort of establishing this authority and this purpose before anything else. So at this foundation of the world, we can go back and we can look that the simple truth is that the living environment, the home, would be the place where human hearts are formed. And how the heart is formed will determine whether a person will flourish or fail. So as we invest in our home, we've got to understand that all throughout Scripture, we can see that God has he has brought together an opportunity to create love and peace and to sort of situate these two things in our home. Now, if you don't do this intentionally, it doesn't just happen, right? Because we know as the story went on, the fall of mankind, sin nature entered into the world, and then we had this thing called selfishness come in. And the opposite of love is not hate. Okay, now that is the absence of it. So you've got sometimes this sort of love-hate relationship with certain people. But it is the opposite of love to be selfish. And so as we are creating a space in our home that is a place that is organized and clean and prepared for our family, we need to understand that this is because of the value that we have for it. It's the value that we feel for it. Now, is that sacrifice? Is it work? Yes. It's really not possible to have a home that has the atmosphere of love and peace if you also have an attitude of selfishness, grumbling, complaining, arguing, anger, frustration. These are the things that make it impossible to feel love and peace. And it can't happen at the same time. So, what do you do with that, right? Because we know that part of our lives include both positive and negative emotions. Okay. But remember now, as we are grown-ups, we are mature now, right? If we own a home or if we have an apartment, wherever it is, if we pay the bills and we are creating this space for our dependents, we have to really act in maturity. And as I look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13, this is called the love chapter in the Bible. And you can see it says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not irritable, it keeps no records of being wronged, and on and on. Love believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, it never fails. And then you go down a few other verses. And here's what it says there at the end of the chapter. When I was a child, I thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. So there is a character quality that is absolutely necessary for you to create a home of love and peace. Maturity. Okay. Maturity means that if things don't go your way, you don't throw a tantrum. Okay. No, you are the mature one that takes the responsibility to create an atmosphere of love and peace. So in your maturity, you are able to let things go. You're able to take a harsh word that might be said to you, and instead of saying something rude back or even being defensive back, you can listen to that and then you can respond with a gentle answer. Proverbs says that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So we've always got to watch ourselves and take personal responsibility to do our part to create love and peace. Okay, that's the thing. You have to do your part, which means no excuses. We've got to say, okay, this is my responsibility to do my part with my attitude. And this is what's going to be the challenge for some of us. And as I was answering some questions in my office this week with my clients, here comes the challenge. You have to do your part. You have to own it, accept the responsibility. My attitude is my responsibility. Okay. So your attitude is contagious, and your children and your husband are all going to react to your attitude. They're going to respond to your attitude. So, as the keeper of the home, whether it is the mother or the father, hopefully both adults in the house are being very involved to take the responsibility to create this atmosphere. We've got to come at it from a place of maturity. Now, let me break down love a little bit. So, in the Greek, there are actually 4 words for love. Okay, we've got agape love, which is that kind of love that God has for us. And because of that, we can let God's love be an outflow from God to us, from us to others. And we're able to see the bigger picture kind of from God's perspective, from God's vantage point, we can see a bigger perspective. So we're able to love people in an unconditional way, in a way where we can really believe the best about them, where we can take whatever it is that we see and we can filter things through the eyes of possibility, and we don't give up on people. And that's what love does. We believe all things, hope all things, endure all things, and never fails. That's agape love. It's the agape love that forgives. It's more unconditional. Okay, so there's that word for love. The other one is storge. That's this natural affection for that parents and children have, and that you have for each other, this family affection. Okay, then there is phileo. Phileo is this friendship sort of love. And so along with that is eros, and eros is that erotic romantic love. Well, as we are going through life with the ups and downs and the ins and outs, and when we take our marriage vows and we vow to love, honor, and cherish this person that we have fallen deeply in love with, and there's this eros, there's all this romantic, erotic love for this other person. We take these vows because we certainly know that these feelings might come and go in the future, right? Because when there's better or worse and richer or poorer and sickness and in health, these are dynamics that we can see in life are going to happen. However, we can sometimes stand on the altar with a little bit of a naive perspective. Will we really have to deal with all this? And the reality is, yes, in a lifetime, you will really have to deal with all of that. So the glue that really holds the foundation of your love together really is the agape love. And this is the glue where you are able to say, okay, because of my faith in God, because of my understanding that I'm made in the image of God and God is love, that I'm able to be love, do love. You look at it like a verb, not just a feeling, and you are able to do this because the foundation is your faith. And then in addition to that, you can know Jesus as the Prince of Peace, and through him you have peace. So there's a deeply spiritual anchor to your soul that gives you the foundation to have peace and love. So when your faith is an anchor to your soul, and through your faith and through your understanding and through your relationship with God and with Jesus, then you begin to invite the Holy Spirit into your heart, into your home, into your attitude. And as a result, the scripture calls it the fruit of the Spirit come out from within this healthy, healed soul. Your soul is your mind, your will, your emotions. So out of this place, the scripture says comes the fruits of the Spirit. And it says there will be rivers of living water. So this is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. So these are all attitudes, right? And with these attitudes, we are able to really set an atmosphere in our home because we understand the value of really being in such close relationship with the whole Trinity, with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, as we move forward in learning about having a foundation of love and peace, and as we understand what God wants to do in our hearts and in our homes, then we can really dig our heels in and make a very strong, concerted effort. I will do my part. I will create an atmosphere of love and peace in my home. I will do that through my attitude. I will do that through my commitment. I will do this through all kinds of ways. Through lighting a candle, through having a pot of stew that smells delicious, baking the cookies, and having comfy blankets all around. All of these things are expressions of valuing your home, valuing your family. All of these things are expressions of love to your family. Now, if you do all this and they come home and then you're yelling at them, they're not going to feel loved, right? So this is why it can't be an either or. It's got to be a yes in both. But I just want to encourage you guys today. This is so worth it. Your home is so worth it. Now, it does require scheduling, right? It requires scheduling time to be home. The atmosphere in a family dwelling, it really does determine the destiny of those who live there. So when we create this atmosphere of love and peace, which together produce joy, then making your home a place that is dignified and sanctified gives value and wholeness to all who live there. You know, we want everyone who lives in our home and who comes to our home, who enters, who leaves, to feel like being here is a safe place. It's home. It's home. I feel safe. You know, this is where hearts are formed. So we're going to talk more about this, and I will be answering your questions right after the break. Call me. I'd love to talk to you. 817-637-2585. I'm Trina, and I'll be right back.
Hey, Jill, congratulations on your son getting into the college of his dreams and with a full scholarship, too. Yes, we are so proud of him. You know, I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the same way, and then I met Dr. Gina of Education Prep Centers. She put a plan in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers, college admissions made easy.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleburne, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleburne, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleburne, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Welcome back to Joco Community Radio. I am Trina, and I'm here with you every Monday. And today I'm helping you make your home a place of love and peace. So be sure to call me if you have any questions, 817-637-2585. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 24/7 on the TuneIn Radio Network. So tuneinjoco.com is the place to find all the ways to listen and watch, and the station app is also available for free on Android and Apple devices. So simply search your store, check out our lineup and more at jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. So reach out to your Texas sales rep, 844-TEX-HAIL. That's 844-839-4245. I'm sorry, producer is trying to tell me something. I couldn't quite understand what she was saying. Okay, are we good to go? Yes, we're good to go. Okay, all right. I'm not quite sure what she was trying to tell me, so sorry about that. But yes, so I have some questions I'm going to answer here and see if I can just help out some people. That's what I'm here for. So let's see. The first question is, our marriage is unfulfilling for both of us. We don't want a divorce, but it is so frustrating because we don't get along, and I don't know how to fix it. You know, I think that it's really good that you're at least being honest about it and that you want better. So I think it's really good that you have hope that you want it to be better. And I love that you're both committed to the marriage and that you don't want a divorce. That's wonderful. Here's the thing. You can't fix it. You can't fix the marriage by yourself. you can only fix you. So we can't change the person that we're married to. My husband's name is James. I can't change him, but I can change what I believe about him. So we've got to take a look at our spouse and begin to make a commitment to believe something different about them. If we just focus on the negativity, if we just focus on the hurts, if we just focus on our needs that aren't getting met and how we are displeased or disapproving of them, then it creates this atmosphere of criticism, and they feel so disrespected that they're then reacting to that. So I can't change them and I can't fix the marriage by myself, but I can change me. I can change the way I think about my spouse, and I can change myself to begin to really focus on their needs instead of the ones that I'm not meeting, that I'm not getting met myself. So you know your spouse, you know what they need, and if you listen more carefully, they have told you. And maybe you've been defensive and not wanted to really admit that you need to change, and that there's certain things about your choices and your attitudes that are like a turnoff to them. And so if you really listen, and instead of being defensive when they're trying to give you, I'm going to call it feedback, even though sometimes it feels like criticism, right? They're trying to give you feedback. If you just say, thank you for the feedback, I'm going to keep that in mind. I want to make a difference. And I'm hoping that as I change my attitude about our marriage, that I can begin to make you feel differently. And I hope that it will. And I hope that it will begin to change the dynamic in our marriage. Watch what you say, because whenever you begin to really think negatively about your marriage, think negatively about your situation that might need to be quote unquote fixed, that's very powerful, because what you believe is very, very powerful. So I want you to believe that you love this person. I want you to believe that that God brought you this person, and they're like believe positively about them. Find something that you can respect, and then begin to build on that. Anything, like even if 90% of the way they behave is driving you crazy, if you could just focus on that 10% and build on that, that's going to be a good start, because probably if they are sensing that you are unfulfilled, that's going to contribute to both of you being unfulfilled. But if you switch that around and you say, you know what, I'm really fulfilled with the way that you fill in the blank. I'm really fulfilled, and I really respect the way that you, and whatever it is, like it's got to be something that's true. You can't just make it up. It has to be something that actually is something that they will believe. But start with a compliment and begin with changing your attitude and beginning to be respectful. That will start to shift things. And then you really just have to be patient, because it does take time. When things have gotten way off track, one step at a time will bring it back on track, but you have to change you. That's the only place where you have power. I like to explain to my clients the difference between a goal and a desire. And so, in order for you to accomplish your goals, in order for something to be a goal, you have to have the power to make it happen. So, you decide it, you determine it, then you can make it happen. Okay. You take the full responsibility, really, just your willpower and determination can make this happen. But anything and everything that requires cooperation from somebody else is a desire, not a goal. You don't have the power to make it happen. So you've got to let it go. Truly let it go, and not try to control the other person. See, what happens in a relationship whenever you're feeling like things are off and they need to be sort of fixed is there's this urgency to fix it. Okay, this urgency. You're feeling this discomfort from it. You're feeling the tension. There's an urgency to fix it. Well, if you can relax into the process and embrace the process of just your own personal growth, and take responsibility for your own happiness. I always say, don't put the keys of your happiness in somebody else's pocket, but take responsibility for your own happiness. So you are bringing joy into the relationship. You're bringing a caring attitude into the relationship rather than a critical attitude into the relationship. It's going to go a long way. But what happens is we tend to get these fear buttons pushed where we're afraid that our future is threatened, or we're afraid of criticism, or we're afraid of being taken advantage of, and different fear buttons get pushed. And that's where we begin to really spiral in this negative mindset about our marriage. So do your part and bring something beautiful to the relationship, then be willing to wait for your partner to do the same. Okay. All right. If we have any questions, be sure to give me a call, 817-637-2585. And I'm happy to answer your questions and be right here live on air with me, 817-637-2585. Okay. So while I'm waiting to see if the phone's going to ring, I will just continue. I've got more questions that I can answer here. So let's see. Okay, this one is from a man. My wife is a controller. Wow. Uh-oh. And I want to keep the peace, but often I don't think she's right. And I don't like conflict, but I'm tired of being controlled and I don't want to be afraid to say something. This is really where you're going to have to step up and conquer your fear. So it looks like you have a fear of rejection ultimately. And maybe even a fear of criticism, but you're afraid to stand up to her. And that is not beneficial in the relationship, because when one person is controlling and the other person is afraid because they're controlling, then the relationship is just very unhealthy. So in order for this unhealthy dynamic to shift, you've got to replace that fear with confidence and with faith that you have value and that your opinion does matter. So you will have to state your opinion, not in a way to fight or in a way where she has to agree with you. But if she says something that you don't think is right, you need to say, I don't think that's right. I don't think that, that we should lease a car. I think it would be better for us to pay cash for a car, or whatever the, the disagreement might be. You've got to use your voice. It's very important that you use your voice, because if you have become so afraid that you're silenced, well, she's not going to respect that either. Ultimately, even though it might cause some discomfort because your relationship has been a little bit unhealthy with this dynamic, just lean into the discomfort to be able to be heard and to be able to be confident. And, it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's just about that nobody is in control of the other person. See, love is never controlling that way. Love is always mutually satisfying. Love is a, there's a mutual compatibility. So we are both contributing to the relationship. There's this mutuality and this reciprocity, and this is so important in the relationship. So if one person is being controlling, it's probably because they have fear-based thinking. So I'm not sure what your wife is actually afraid of that's causing her to be controlling, but maybe you should ask her. So, babe, I'm just wondering, is there something that you are afraid of? Because are you afraid of me being wrong? Are you afraid of being wrong? What is it that you're afraid of that causes you to seem controlling in our relationship? And, I don't know that she'll be able to be like, oh my gosh, thank you for telling me that I'm controlling. You don't want to say it like she's controlling. You just say, what is it that causes you to sometimes seem controlling from my perspective? And, let her know that you are bringing this to her, but you're also wanting to know why, and that you want to fix that you want to let her know how you feel, not to fix her, but to change the dynamic of the relationship. And it has to change. It is important. So, as long as you enable her to be controlling because you are because you let her control you, that's unhealthy. So have the confidence to not be an enabler, okay, and you know, contribute mutually to the relationship. This is very, very important. Very important. Yeah, fear-based thinkers begin to be controllers. So that's what happens sometimes, and we can't just accept that as okay. Okay, y'all, you've got to just take a step to do that. Anyway, give me a call if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you. And the number is again 817-637-2585. Do I have a caller on the line? I guess not. Do I have a caller on the line? Hello? Okay, well, I'll just wait a minute until I can hear. Okay, guys, moving forward here. Let's see. Okay, so my husband, are you ready? Are you on the line?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me just see. I don't think that is working.
Howard, can you hear me okay?
There's kind of an echo, but okay, go ahead and try.
Yes. Hi, Trina.
Hi.
So I had a question about so you know when you have like your so I have a problem with my husband. He's still having some difficulty wanting to really do a whole lot and help me around the house.
Okay, what is it that you are thinking that you might need help with?
I feel like I'm very overwhelmed with work and everything that I've got going on, and him not really helping me around the house has really become quite stressful. And I don't want to nag him, so I don't nag him. I just end up doing it. And I have asked for help a couple of times, just to get some things done around the house. And I will say, like last night, maybe not nagging him has somewhat helped, because last night he did help me with the laundry a little bit, but it's been very difficult for me to, get him to team up with me and get some of the housework done.
Yeah, I think
without it feeling all on me.
Right. And that's, that's really important, because if you have a teamwork approach to life where you're both working full time, you're both taking care of your home together, it's just a matter of having the teamwork approach and just telling him, maybe we hadn't really talked about how we're going to do this, but let's do more of a teamwork approach to our chores. And you can just tell them, like, for instance, how about if we try when we get out of bed in the morning that we just turn around and make the bed together right then and there. That's what my husband and I do. And it works so well. Now, we did not do that throughout our whole entire marriage over the past, dynamics change and schedules change, and it's not always possible. But in the last 10 years, he and I always get up at the same time, and we just turn around and make the bed together right then. And it's so great. It really sets the tone for the rest of the day. But I think that whenever I'm taking the lead in the chores getting done at the house, my husband tends to come alongside me and just want to be kind of part of the team, but I keep it fun, and I don't act overwhelmed and frustrated that he's not helping me. It's just kind of like, hey, let's get this done together so we can, get the dishes done quick before the Cowboys game starts. That kind of a thing, because I think attitude is really what impacts the atmosphere. And when someone is feeling nagged or pressured, or like they're being criticized for what they don't do, or like your expectations are too high, or like you think that they're not good enough because they're not already doing this, then it brings there's some attitude that comes with it, and it's not a good one, right? But if you come at it from a way of, hey, I love being a team together. We are such a great team together. So I was thinking, let's get the laundry folded and put away, and then then you can go golfing and I can go to the grocery store. And then when we come back, we can do dinner and dishes and sit down and watch a movie. How does that sound to you? And then he might be like, oh, that sounds great. I'd love to do that. So it's all kind of in the way that you present it. And same thing with kids, if you present it like it's fun and it's teamwork. But I think it is important. And I take the responsibility, and I think that women really do the best job of being the keepers of the home, and to really like initiate order of the systems, basically the order. And if there are things that are just not working, I always like to see how I can make it work better. And so you can always ask your husband about the systems. Like, I don't feel like our laundry system is really easy because it seems like there's always a load of unfolded laundry on the couch or on the table or on the bed. So I feel like we need a different system. What would you suggest? And do you think that he would be open to any of those ideas?
No, I think those are great ideas. And I think that that would really help and benefit us at the house because, I know that nagging never works. I always, my mom was a big nagger. And so I didn't want to be that. So I've always just like done it. I've just stepped in and taken care of it. But I think that you're right. That overwhelming feeling, I get very overwhelmed, and I think that's probably what's setting him off in wanting to be a team. Because even when I approach him, and I'm like, hey, we need to be a team here. This is both of our house. This is, we need to take care of this together. This needs to be on both of us, not just on me or one or the other. And so I do feel that what you said, I think my overwhelmingness and the stress, probably that energy that I'm putting forth is probably what's causing him not to really want to help out, more or less, maybe just frustrating him. I can see that.
Yeah, men really respond negatively to anything that they can interpret as disrespect. And so I think we have to be very careful as wives to not talk down to our husbands, or like you say, nagging. They feel like we're the mom and they're the child, where we're going, we need to get our chores done right now, right? Like we're the child, like they're the child. So we really have to frame it in a way that we're doing it, so that we could do something else that we really want to do together. Almost like, okay, my priority is you, because they respond to that. Like, or, I mean, even if like whatever his love language is, I mean, whatever would kind of motivate him, be like, okay, let's get this done. And then let's hop back in bed, for a little lovemaking session before we go on with our day, something where he feels like, oh, okay, let's do this and then that, and it works with kids too, where you're saying, okay, maybe they want to go to urban air. You say, okay, great, let's get our rooms clean. Then we'll go to urban air, that kind of a thing where the focus is on what we do next. It's just like, let's just do this real quick. And then we get to focus on what's next. And I think sometimes they respond better to that. And so, we can't ever force anyone to do anything, like I was saying before, but we can change our approach to impact the environment positively, and we might get a better chance of things turning out better. You say you can't lead a horse to you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You've heard that, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
I would say, but you can salt their tongue, right? You can salt their tongue and it's going to make them thirsty. So there's a good chance that they're going to drink if they're thirsty. So, that's kind of what it is, just sort of like salting their tongue so they get excited about what to do next. Because if they feel like they're being already criticized for what they're not already doing, they just feel like they're disrespected and like, and so they're resistant, then they become resistant to helping out. But anyway, those are just some practical ideas that I think hopefully will help, but you can try them out. And if they don't help, then call me back and we'll think of something else.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Trina.
Okay. Thanks for calling. God bless. Bye-bye.
No problem. Bye.
Okay, so glad that I got that call through. I was getting a little nervous there for a minute, but we finally made it. So it worked out great. Okay, so anyway, let's see. Another question that I have here, and by the way, feel free to email your questions to me or to put questions on Facebook, send me a direct message, whatever it is, because I would love to answer your questions right here on air. So the next question, my wife, this is another one from a man. My wife has taken our kids and left. Oh wow, that's big. She says I'm controlling and a narcissistic abuser, that I'm an angry man, and she can't stay any longer. Oh wow. Okay, she has drawn a big boundary and she's got your attention. I can see. He says, I've apologized, but I miss my family and I don't know how to convince her that I've changed. Okay, well, let me just for starters, say, I'm sorry that you're going through this. I know it's very painful to have your kids just essentially, kidnapped, where your wife just took the kids and left, it, just is what it sounds like. But you just have to know that based on what she's saying, she has a reason. So you really need to posture yourself in the way that you are willing to humbly accept the consequences for your past behavior. Because in order for you to prove that you have changed, especially if she's even just a little bit right about that you've been narcissistic, which means that is just an extreme self-centeredness. This extreme self-centeredness, which is not compatible with love, by the way, and it doesn't work in a family relationships. It just doesn't work in a family because everything is about you and your control, and it's your way or the highway, and that's not love, and relationships don't thrive with that attitude. So if she's even a little bit right about that, and if she's even a little bit right about your anger, uh it's going to take some time for her to feel safe with you again, and probably for the kids to feel safe with you again as well. So I just think that you need to really embrace patience and keep working on yourself. Embrace patience, get a good counselor, study up on the things that she has said to you. Because here's the thing about emotional intelligence: instead of getting defensive or trying to prove that somebody's wrong, that maybe has a judgment against you, we tend to want to get very defensive when we feel like we are being attacked. And I'm sure that you're feeling like a victim here, and she's also feeling like they were victims. Okay, so there's a victim mentality here going on with both you and your wife. But what I need you to do in this moment is to really accept full responsibility, because that is the best chance that you have of moving forward in the right direction. If you become defensive, or if you just focus on the fact that you're a victim of her taking the kids, you're not going to ever win her heart back. It just won't happen. But if you take full responsibility and you have regret over the way that you have been in the past, if there is remorse over the way that you have been, if there's this true repentance, and you want to do everything that you can to repair the damage that you've caused, and you truly accept the responsibility to repeat it never, because of the consequences. I mean, there is a tremendous consequence whenever you treat people badly. Relationships will eventually be broken because it's destructive. It's destructive, and so people will eventually make a decision to cut you off. It sounds like, since you're not divorced yet, there may still be a chance of you winning her heart back, but you just have to know this is going to be a step by step process, because you've got to undo and repair a lot of damage that you have done. Um, Clearly, she has taken very seriously the steps to be away from you. And so when someone is in flight and they have left you, the best chance that you ever have of getting them back is actually to let them go. If you chase after them and you try to somehow force them or manipulate them to come back, if you're trying to force the relationship or really exercise your rights, it's going to escalate the situation and you won't be able to win her heart back. So, having compassion on what you've put her through and what you put the kids through, you can write apology letters. You can just, think about the things that she has told you that need to change, and take it seriously, and just tell her, I've heard the things that you've told me that I need to change. I'm taking it seriously. I'm going through counseling, and I'm willing to wait and do whatever it takes. I do want my family back. But it's very important for you to say, I'm willing to wait, so that she doesn't feel pressured, because she's going to need some time to heal, and probably the kids will too. So be patient, have this opportunity. Emotional intelligence says that you will take what she has said, you will use this feedback and use it as an opportunity for growth. And so as you apply that to your life, then eventually there's an opportunity to be in relationship again. So I hope that happens for you. Keep growing and keep trying. Don't ever give up. Hold on to hope, everybody. This is not the end of the story. There's always hope. So hold on to hope and work on yourself. Hugs and high fives. See you next Monday.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and